Hello everyone, welcome to Network Africa. I am Amarachi Uvani, sitting in for Teniola Shivawale. We begin in Kenya, where thousands of passengers have been stranded in 4 main airports after a strike by workers caused major disruption to flights today. Workers say they are unhappy over a planned merger between the Airport Authority and the national airline. About 60 flights failed to leave Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, East Africa's largest, but some operations had resumed by afternoon. And what you see there is the state security trying to disperse protesters who gathered earlier today. Airports in Mombasa, Eldoret and Kisumu are also disrupted. The government has condemned the strike as illegal, and Kenyan Air Force personnel have been brought in to ease the situation, as you're watching.
You do not interfere with the security installation, especially when you have no basis for complaints. When you have a job, nobody has failed to pay your salary. Nobody has given you a threat that your job you'll be at risk, and yet you go on a strike. You have given assurances that the numbers are going up in terms of employment, and you still go on strike. That is called malice. It is called sabotage. It is called economic sabotage. It is something which cannot be tolerated. It is criminal activity. And that's why you found the security agencies are here. They managed to chase away everybody who was bringing trouble.
We've lost a lot of money because, local flight in where we are going, once you miss the flight, you forget the money. So it's really bad for us. Very, very bad. It's a big loss for us.
And I'm like, I did not sleep all night. If they knew there was going to be a strike, they shouldn't have picked us from the hotel that early. Probably they should have left us like till 10, but it's all good. I actually had to sleep here, yes. I came with my yoga mat, I laid down here and I slept for some time.
Oh, quite an interesting situation at the airport. Let's bring in Kenyan journalist Abby Agina to tell us more on this. Abby, bring us up to speed with what's going on now. The last we heard, authorities were dispersing protesters from the grounds of the airport.
Many thanks. As of now, normalcy has returned at the airport. So far, we've been able to establish that flights are departing from JKIA to various destinations. And so far, we also understand that a good number of travelers who are on international flights had to be rerouted and wait for other bookings to be done. Quite a host of people were affected, especially people traveling on the long-haul flights. That's the much we know as of now.
Well, to think that, all of these disruptions happened because workers, what exactly were they asking for? Because according to the minister whom we heard just a while ago, he said the numbers are going up, there are no retrenchments. I mean, everything seems fine. So what do the workers want?
So it's a dicey affair, if you ask me. But the crux of the matter is that the workers that work under the Kenya Airports Authority, that is the state agency that is in charge of all the airports in the country, there's a looming merger between them and the national carrier, that is Kenya Airways. So the workers are simply opposing this proposal to merge because they are fears that most of them will lose their jobs. And it's something that has caught them on the edge. And the union workers have also maintained that this particular merger proposal is not holding any water. I say this because their concerns are that the national carrier, that is Kenya Airways, currently is making losses. So they are worried when it comes to a loss-making entity merging with a company that has been making profits to the region of about 8 billion shillings.
Yeah, and their fears do sound valid. Usually when there is a merger, you do lose people in the process. But
sure.
Was there any warning concerning this strike? It must have been brewing for a while.
If you ask me, the strike came as a surprise because as early as midnight today, flights landing were not able to get sufficient auxiliary services, that is the ground handling services. We did speak to a couple of passengers who were landing early in the airport. For example, I spoke to a gentleman known as Dr. Isaac Kalua, who is an environmentalist. He was landing into the country. He clearly told us that upon arrival, the baggage area, you had to go pick your bag by yourself. And that's when it hit them that something is not adding up. So from that, it simply tells you of a well-orchestrated strike that the minister has indicated earlier, that there were various people in different levels of management that were involved. It was not just a question of the ground handling staff, because it takes a lot of coordination for that to have happened. Although the workers' union, that is the Kenya Aviation Workers Union, Secretary General, that is Moses Ndiema, who is currently in court, did indicate that they had served the Kenya Airports Authority with the strike notice, which was clearly a notice to them that they would be going on strike, but it was not clear of when they would go for the strike. So it did catch the authorities by surprise, if you ask me. At the same time, they tried to manage the situation to some extent. We did see a bit of excess use of police force at the airport when they were dispersing some of these workers.
Yeah, and that's another matter entirely, Abby, because, you know, when the police coming, someone has to account for, you know, some of the wounded, some of their actions, which most times are not friendly. But you said earlier that flights had to be rerouted. I mean, people were stranded at the airport earlier, and those on long-haul flights also had to be rerouted and so on. Who's bearing the financial cost here, Abby?
So that's a tricky question, if you ask me. Is it the airline? Will it be the government? Will it be loaded on the workers who went on strike? Because the government is maintaining that these workers were on an illegal strike, because yesterday they were served with a court order which was delivered to their office past working hours. That was past 5 p.m. So the union said they didn't get any court order. But as we speak currently, the manner in which such situations are handled is that the airline should bear the burden of the cost, because the customer does not care what the workers will do or what the government does. They just want a refund on their ticket. They want a booking for their hotels. So if you're going with the formalities of how the industry works, it means the airline has to bear the cost of accommodating these passengers. And of course, rerouting of the flight means that if someone was having a connecting flight, they have to now strike an agreement with the airline that was doing the layover. So it's going to be a very huge burden for the national carrier, if you ask me, when it comes to the cost perspective.
Abby, a really tricky and expensive situation, very costly, what these workers have done. But I'm sure that in the course of the next few days, these issues will be ironed out. Thank you again for joining us on Network Africa.
Thank you so much.